Let me take us to a place where I hope that's the kind of prevailing energies that any person, any Kenyan would call for.
Yeah.
I'm taken back to 2008.
Yeah.
When John McCain and young Barack Obama then were running for president. And I remember it was in one of the town halls because at that time I was still living in the US. And this came as a shock to everyone. John McCain was an amazing guy. Forget him being a soldier or whatever. He had an amazing soul. And God rest his soul, you know, in eternal peace. One of the supporters wanted to ask him a question, and when she was given the microphone, I remember this vividly, and she came out and said, Barack Obama is an Arab, and went on in a tirade.
Yeah.
Guess what? John McCain reached out to the microphone and took it from that supporter. His supporter took away the microphone. Do you know what he said? He said, I know Senator Barack Obama. He's a decent man. He's not what you've said. We have political differences. That's it. But more than that, he's a decent man. And he took away the microphone. You know what he did? He stood up for somebody who he believed had what it took to get into that coveted seat at the 1900 Pennsylvania Avenue. That is the kind of spirit that should lead our leaders. That somebody can stand somewhere and say, no, that's not the person I know. But when you are in a very charged atmosphere, you have your supporters around you throwing very bad words to a current sitting president. He's listening. They are calling him all sorts of names. But you cannot take away the microphone and say, guys, listen, I know this person. That's not how I know him. You guys don't know him. Probably read about him. That's what I would have expected from some of our leaders, some who are very senior.
Yeah. And
today, as we sit here, I think this is the kind of conversation that we should be teaching some of these guys who are coming, you know, out of the demon hole with such crazy and angry verbiage, whether they're in government or whether they're in opposition. I do not think it's right. It has never been, Mark, and it will never be, for anybody to chastise or call names. No, just forget because you think you're behind a computer and you think, you know, you're very anonymous. No. There are so many things you can say just because you feel you've been given some sort of freedom. Yes, Mark, I don't want your internet seized. I don't want your internet censored. But also, like Mark said, with greater power comes greater responsibility. You have the powers within you to write something to either hold somebody to account or really to destroy that somebody with angry words and just bomb them with inhumane words. The power is within you. Why can we not do the right thing? All right? So I think as we move this conversation to another level, we have a very big part to play, Mark, whether we believe or not. For instance, just this sit down, and I know many viewers will listen to us. What will be their take home? That you can go back to your devices and haul insults to the person of Raila Odinga or haul insults to the current president? And then what? I gave somebody an example, Mark Bichachi, this one you wanted to listen. I gave somebody an example. 60,000 youths within our East African community sat down on their social media to sell their country. Visit country XYZ. Visit country XYZ. Their GDP grew by 3%. These are young people who would have chosen otherwise to lime, because we are not, some of us are not even in the country. We can hurl abuses. But that's not what they did, because they understood how the domino effects of an economy works. They know that if this person visits my country, they spend in one of the hotels. My brother works there. They buy food. My mother farms vitungus. They understand the economics of our times. But here, we've made this environment so out of touch with reality that you have passenger cruise liners that are moving away from the port of Mombasa to the port of Dar es Salaam.
Yes.
Mark, we have to understand the challenges of our times. We have to create a conducive environment. I told somebody we may not realize that we are cutting our noses to spite our face because we think what we are doing primarily is hurting the other person who sits at that house on the hill. Not fully well knowing that some of the things that we are doing are affecting us directly.
Right.
And up until such a time when we realize that our shoelaces are all tied is probably the time we'll start thinking straight.